Hi, I'm Al and this is Roadtrip Revivals. Today you join me in the west of France. The department is the Vienne number 86 and here we have today's steed, Peugeot 304. We'll go into the history a bit more on this model later, but the plan, as usual, is going to be to get this beast fired up, drive it 250 miles home. Let's dig into it. It's in a barn, so we're calling it a barn find. And it has not been on the road since 2003. This car, I think, is a 1974. It's the berline, or saloon as we would call it, or sedan if you're American. But I would say that's a fairly handsome looking car. Sort of a nice bright blue, that pops quite well. And it's the all-important S for sport. Got a tow bar as well. Yeah, it looks pretty straight down the sides. Tyres have got some air in them. Being on this trailer, that could be handy for poking around underneath. We'll get it off the trailer later, obviously. Some fiberglass here. Oh, it's plush inside though. All of the spider's webs. Oh, we've got a sunroof. Check that out. Yeah, it's not looking too bad, is it? It's got like a browny vinyl seat under there. Who knows what condition they're in. 93,000 kilometres. Oh, it's got a rev counter. An 8,000 RPM rev counter. Oh, this is nice. Cushy, spacious. Very nice. Lots of parts, that comes with the car. I have brought a few of my own parts with me. Seems like most of it is there. What is going on with the alternator though? Huh? That is weird. And it looks like this car was brown originally. Oh, something in there. No bolts on the air cleaner. The air filter has turned to dust. I do not know what I am looking at, people. This is confusing. I've never had one of these. Right, I just took 10 minutes to get myself acquainted with what's going on under here. I've never looked under the bonnet of one of these before. So we got an inline 4, about 1300cc, I think this is, with an overhead camshaft driven by a chain. So no timing belt to worry about. And then we have here a double barrel Weber, which is what denotes this as the S. The non-S is a single barrel with 65 horsepower. This one has 75 mighty horsepowers. What have we got? Distributor down there. The fuel pump is going to be down the back there somewhere. We've got the fuel pipe arriving here, which isn't attached. Perfect positioning for that, because once this splits, leaks on your ignition leads and this whole thing catches fire. The oil is low, but it looks clean at least. So there's hope there. Brake fluid is dry as a bone. And this has, you can't see it, but a hydraulic clutch. So that is not going to work either. Got that to look at. Here's a weird thing. Look where the alternator is. I thought for a minute it was sort of unbolted and just thrown in there, but no, that is how it goes. And radiator obviously has some fluid in it, which is amazing. I'm glad about that, because when it dries out and turns to crystals, that's bad news. And we've got the radiator fan here. We'll look at that later, but it looks like the belt does a crazy loop, goes sideways around here to drive that fan. The belt is on there at least. Like I say, we've got an alternator, but it does have a separate voltage regulator, which is a bit concerning. But yeah, I think we see there the original colour of this car, the brown. Not surprisingly, someone decided to jolly it up a bit with some nice bright blue. Got all its original VIN plates and things on there. The bonnet latch each side. I think I can just about reach underneath, get a socket and a bar on the end of the crankshaft. See if this thing will turn over before we chuck a battery on it. But yeah, so far, first impressions are pretty good. Oh, my mistake, it's actually a Solex, this carb. And I do have a carb kit for it, should we need it. The access down to the end of the crankshaft is really tight, but I think I got it now. What I realised is that you have to sneak the socket up, put it on the end of the crankshaft, put an extension bar, there's a hole in the inner wing, and then you can get your ratchet on there. So here we go. Parked for 23 years. Going to be seized or not? Place your bets now. Ooh. Okay. There's just a tiny bit of resistance at the start. But otherwise, it turns absolutely free as a bird. Don't feel much compression going on yet, but that's okay, that'll come around. It's almost hard to believe this has been parked for 23 years. But it has been in a nice dry barn. Brake hoses, they don't look too nice. No rot in here at all. Nice solid wishbone. Gaiters are intact. Again, rubber from 40 years ago. Much better than what we have now. This tyre doesn't look too bad. It's a Black Star. Tubeless. 1999. Okay. Got all the hubcaps. Chatting to a friend, he told me this is a really common rot point on these, but solid little bubble on the bottom of the door there. Not too shabby, not too shabby. Let's put a battery on it. I might just splash a bit of fuel in as well, just in case it's going to pump. Sam did tell me at some point he remembers draining the fuel. Ooh. Yeah. Pretty much as you'd expect it to smell. Not very nice. I'll just confirm that it is empty before we put any in there. Yeah. Dry as a bone. Looks solid though, at least. I've got 10 litres of fuel here, so I'll put half of it in the tank. 5 litres. And 5 litres in a match if it all goes horribly wrong. Nah, just kidding. I was a bit apprehensive about this one, if I'm honest. If it had been an old Escort or a Cortina or something, I could have brought a lot more parts and a lot more know-how to the table. But yeah, we're on a learning curve here. A car is a car after all. Nuts, bolts, distributors, alternators, head gaskets, combustions, explosions, clutch, brakes, and off you go down the road, hopefully. We'll put a little bit of oil in, just so we know it's not going to run dry. But we'll change it in a bit anyway. I think this car is on this trailer because Sam moved some 8 years ago. The car got brought over here on this trailer and just never got around to taking it off again. But that is going to be handy for, at least for changing the oil and having a bit of a poke around underneath at some point. That'll also just give the camshaft a good bit of much needed lubrication before we turn on the key. Might just dump a bit of brake fluid in as well, see if that stays in there. If you're looking forward to see if this old girl's going to fire up, why not just hit that subscribe button and give me a like right now? Or wait till it fires up. Don't commit just yet. I'll put a link in the description to this video, but don't forget you can win my Trabant as well for only £2.50. We'll have a proper look later, but I think the gearbox on this is in the sump. So it's using engine oil to lubricate the gearbox as well. So definitely uses a 2050, which is cool for the engine. And also the gearbox will not hate life with too thin of an oil in it. Hope this isn't too big. Okay, there we go. It's going to be a negative ground. Yep. Definitely once you've got an alternator. All right. It's just a relay clicking on. I think that's because the key's turned on. Oh, okay. Got a light on. It's telling us already. I want to live, I want to live. Okay. Let's turn the lights off first. Oh, hazard lights work. How do the lights work? Oh, don't know what that is. I'll show you the switch gear later, but it's all a bit unusual because French. Okay. Neutral. Gear stick feels good. Oh, that sounds not bad at all. Have we got an oil light? Yeah, but you can't tell if it goes out because it goes out the second you start cranking anyway. No fuel yet. Might as well see if we've got a spark as well then. Take the king lead directly from the coil, put it up here next to the carburetor, which won't matter because there's no fuel here yet anyway. Man, if this has got a spark, that is going to be great news. That is going to save us a lot of messing around. No, definitely nothing. Don't believe me? You want to see? Okay, let's have a look at the points next. The best tool ever for checking points is a power probe. In fact, this is one of the best tools ever, full stop. If you mess with old cars and you haven't got one of these, then get yourself one, and you'll be wondering what you're missing. Not sponsored, just a good thing. Anyway, here is our points, and the great thing is that we can touch it here, and we have battery voltage. The points are closed, and then on the base plate, the other side of the points, we've got a ground, so we can now clearly see that the power is not passing through the points. And then if you're not sure, you can just use your power probe, give them a flick open. In a minute, we'll do that when we've cleaned them up, and then we'll see them actually working. Yeah, a bit of wet and dry. We'll clean those up and try again. Okay, we're looking good here now. Now, if I put my probe again on the arm side, you'll see they're closed, and we have 0 volts. That means the coil is being grounded. If you don't know, the coil has a live feed to its positive side, and it's grounded on and off. When it's grounded, it's turned on. When the ground releases, that's when you get your spark. So we can see there now 0 volts, and then we can use the probe just to ease them open. 12 volts, 0 volts, 12 volts. We can see that when they're shut, they're making a good contact. And we can see they're making a good contact because they go right to 0 volts. At the same time we're doing that, we can see, you can't see it because it's on the other side, but you can hear we've got a spark there up on the lead from the coil. And then we have a distributor cap that's done no miles. Oh, it's got holes drilled in it. That's weird. Yeah, dusty, but no wear on it. The arm is old, but it looks functional. So, put that back on, do the cranking test again. Oh, got to put that bit back in. Right, I don't know if you'll see it, but we should have a spark. Yes. Cool. All right, still not pumping any fuel though. Let's give this pump some lube, see if it'll come back to life. You can just back feed it down the pipe here. Ah, there it goes. The filter that came off it doesn't look too bad at all. The pipe is rock hard. So we'll change that if it gets going. Let's leave it loose for now. Here we go. Come on. Let's see if it'll fire, that'll be more fun. Get some of that for lube and that for burning. Okay, bring the thunder, I guess. Yes. Got us a runner here, guys. We have got us a runner. Bit more lube for the valves and such like. Bit of fuel. Wow. That sounds pretty good. Big hole in the exhaust. Not bad at all, not bad at all. We are still not pumping fuel. Okay, I've got updates on our fuel situation. I've got this primer, so I used that. I put a new bit of pipe from there to the filter, used that to suck, and it wouldn't bring any fuel through, it's just blocked solid. So definitely no fuel coming up. So what I did next was I went back to the tank. I'll just show you. Dead handy being on this trailer, we can easily get under here. And so what I did next was pulled the pipe off from the tank, and I found that under the bonnet then I could suck. So I know that the line is clear, but unfortunately the pickup pipe in the tank is blocked, and it's just soldered or welded into the side of the tank. I don't think there's going to be any access to get it out or do anything with it. So I did just join up a pipe on this side of the tank, and I used this in the reverse. I used it to blow, and I'll show you what happens. I can build up some pressure and I can squeeze really hard, and well, the pipe popped off then, but even so, as much as I pump and squeeze, it does not unblock. Which is in fact doubly annoying because I just tipped all the rest of the petrol in there. Grr. Annoying as that is though, I think it's a problem we can overcome one way or another, whether we put an auxiliary tank in the car, something under the bonnet. Probably not actually, there isn't enough room, but one way or another we can get that to work. We know the engine runs, so I think next I'll turn my attention to the brakes and the clutch, see if there's any chance of getting those working, and then we'll really know if this thing is a complete folly or not. I really like this dashboard with its brushed aluminium plating on there. And we got, speedo, temperature gauge, which isn't a given on these old cars. Someone's painted the needles blue. I don't suppose that can be factory. Fuel gauge, heater controls here, temperature gauge, faux stitching on there. An original Blaupunkt radio. Got the 4-speed. All fairly conventional. Door cards are a little wavy, but not too haggard. The old arm exercises. Right, let's do a pedal assessment. Accelerator. Looked at that already. That seems to work, sort of. Clutch pedal fairly obviously on the floor. Brakes. Straight to the floor. Perfect. I put some fluid in there. Let's give it a pump. At least the master cylinder isn't seized up, I guess. Nah, that fluid didn't drop at all. So this is obviously our master cylinder. It's single line, just one line coming out the end here. And the clutch master is that one down there, just below. It feeds here from the brake master. And the clutch slave is that one just there. But I ask myself, has it come out and got stuck there? So I'm just going to get my bar on there, see if I can lever it back in. You want to make sure it's fully in, because if we pull the pedal up and pump on it again and it's stuck out, that could be doing some damage somewhere along the line. Doesn't move. Does it move the other way? No, doesn't move either way. It just occurred to me, if the pedal is stuck down, that will never allow you to push the arm back, because the fluid won't return to the cylinder when the pedal's down. So I put the pedal up, and now I can push that cylinder in and out. I cracked the bleed nipple off and got a bit of fluid out of it, and you can just see it has a clear PVC pipe. And as I'm rocking the cylinder in and out, it's pushing air back up to the master cylinder, in effect bleeding it. So I'll give it a bit more of that until all the air comes out, and then it might just work. That'd be a huge win. On the bottom middle right of the screen there, you can just see where I'm pushing the slave cylinder in and out. And if that air is escaping, it can only be drawing back fluid, can't it? Let's have a look in the car. Right, it's not spilling out into the car from the master cylinder, but it is very stiff. And it doesn't spring back, not yet anyway. Yeah, almost springs back up now. Yeah, that's good. That's going to come back to life, I think. What's weird is I seem to be able to push air out, but it doesn't ever seem to suck any fluid back down, which is concerning. Crack the bleed nipple. Oh, it's dripping now from the bleed nipple. Just there. See that? Yeah, that is bleeding now. I think we'll just leave that for 5 minutes. Let it gravity bleed. Crack this one off, pump on the brakes, see if we can get any fluid out of there. Right, there's still air bubbling out the clutch sleeve, so I'll leave that a little bit longer and see if that comes back to life. I tried pumping the brake pedal, fluid wouldn't go down. Cracked this pipe off, still nothing, but I've just removed the pipe and it is starting to bubble now. It's letting out some air from here, so being as this isn't seized, if that could start working, that would be a huge win. I started doing a quick audit of the parts I found in the car, and well, there's all sorts of bits and bobs. We got wheel cylinder repair kit, I guess, 6 brake hoses, some sort of ball joint repair kit, a wheel bearing kit, a fuel pump, lots of wheel cylinders, yeah, like 3 or 4 wheel cylinders, new old stock ones. Another repair kit there for something. More wheel cylinder repair kits. 2 brake pads. An oil filter. That is about it. Hopefully it doesn't need a wheel bearing. Don't know why that would be there. Or a ball joint. It's sort of reassuring and worrying at the same time to find all those parts in the car. I haven't actually put the boot yet. Oh wow, we've got loads more stuff in here. What's that? Some sort of a press kit or something. Mirrors, spare light, spare tyre, rat gaiter. Can't imagine that is for this car. Spark plugs, leads, distributor cap, headlight bulb, the steering arm. Another mirror, spare paint for touch-ups. Oh, it's metallic blue in the boot. That's different to the exterior blue. Big old boot. What have we got here? Oh, some struts. They're a bit snazzy, aren't they? Someone was going to snazz it up with some Unipart struts, more bits of trim, bits and bobs. Sorry, why was the front half of the car brown and the rear half was metallic blue? Either this is some sort of cut and shut from back in the day, or did they just paint the engine bays brown? Who knows? Anyway, back to brakes. Right, I've put that pipe just loosely back in for now. And what I'm hoping is if I pump the pedal now, we'll get some fluid coming out of here and the fluid dropping down, and that means that master cylinder's working. So tell me if you can see fluid coming out. I don't think it's that convincing, is it? Might have to let that one drip for a bit more, but on the other hand... Oh, compressor's cut in. We now have clutch pedal. That is great news. Sam loaned me this little compressor, and I did just feed into the tank where the line is blocked, but pretty much a full 100 psi, and it doesn't want to know. That pipe is blocked solid, so... If we can get the brake master cylinder working before we lose the light today, I'll be feeling a little bit better. Well, I pumped on the brakes a bit more, closed up this union here, and then I went down, just picked a wheel at random, this one, cracked off this bleed nipple, pumped on the pedal a bit, and now that is dripping fluid there. So that is excellent news that the master cylinder seems to be passing fluid. I can feel a little bit of pedal pressure when I pump it. Yeah, I think the brakes are going to come around, which is super lucky. I just decided to drop the oil, got the new oil filter on there. So I'm starting to lose the light now, but I'll carry on, get the brakes bled up a bit more, put the oil in before I forget. I've got a ramrod and I'm trying to feed that in the fuel pickup, see if we can clean that one out. I don't have too much hope for it, but yep, that'll wrap it up for today. I'll carry on a little bit, tidy up. See you back here in the morning. So the time has come to get this car off this trailer. It's getting a bit annoying to work up there. And it won't roll because the brakes are a bit stuck, obviously. Tried to unblock the fuel tank again this morning, the fuel pickup. That's not happening. So to try and get it to run for a bit longer to go off the trailer, I've got my fuel can here, which I filled up again last night, my priming bulb, and I'm going to fill up the carb and hope it will run long enough to drive off the trailer. That's the plan anyway. Oh my God. Oh, fire. Fire, fire, fire. Yeah. Oh, panic over, just a minor fire. The fuel pump, Sam's laughing at me. The fuel pump squirted a bit of fuel out directly onto the ignition lead, and poof, fire. Yeah, this seems perfectly fine to me. All right, let's try again. Can't believe how good it started. Rev counter works. Ah, yeah, please, yep. Okay. Still got spark. Probably not got enough fuel in that case. Wow. That sounds great, but it's really loud, really loud. Seems like the carb is pretty good. Also, I don't know if the clutch is stuck as well. It probably is. Oh, the clutch isn't stuck. Oh my goodness, we're driving off the trailer. It's rolling now. Check that out. I can keep priming the fuel in and it will keep running. It runs great. It truly does run like a watch, this one. I can't believe it. Very, very nice. But really loud. Really, really loud. Clutch is working, and yeah, at one point I had a minor panic on the trailer, hit the brake, it's got brakes. It sort of rolls now, so they're not seized up. But yeah, it's really coming around. Good start to the morning. Sun is shining. Some slight little rattling noise, I don't know what that is. A bad ignition lead there, it's arcing out on the block. I think the spark plug might be loose actually, because I can see fire coming out of the hole. That's not a good look, is it? It's not where the combustion's meant to happen. Fix that before we carry on. One slightly concerning thing is the charge light is not going out, so we'll get it running again in a minute and see what's going on there. It's been idling now quite happily for about 10 minutes. I joined the fuel pipe from the can down onto the fuel pump, up through the fuel filters, just to check that the pump is working. The thermostat's just opened. That's looking pretty good. It's not pressurizing. It seems very happy.
As expected though, it is not charging. If I give it a few revs, I can get to about 12.5 volts, so there is a tiny bit of life there. I'm hoping maybe it will come back of its own accord if we run it a bit more. I just want to try and drive backwards and forwards a couple of feet just to see what the brakes feel like again. Clutches feels good and nice and light. The temperature gauge isn't working, that's annoying. Reverse. The brake pedal is rock hard now. I bled them all up last night. They're not even sticking, that is amazing. Sanity check then. Fuel system, probably okay. I think the accelerator pump has even come back to life. Ignition, okay. Cooling, okay, probably. Charging, might be just enough to run in the daytime. The only thing we need to power is the coils, so we don't need a great lot of power anyway. We could go and buy another battery as a backup, so that may not be an issue. 250 miles home. If I want to get home today in the daylight, I can't hang around too much. Brakes seem to work, clutch is good, tyres pump up. The exhaust is a bit too much on the loud side. In summary, I think if we could figure out a fuel system, be it a can in the car, we need to get a pipe through the firewall, patch up the exhaust, more or less we could hit the road. That would be the dream. I decided to have a look inside this voltage regulator in case there's some contacts or something we can clean up in there and coax it back to life. It could be the alternator that's bad though, who knows, but alternators with voltage regulators are a bit before my time, unfortunately. The whole car's a bit before my time. I used to be quite into my Peugeots, but it was more the ones ending in a 5 or a 6. 205, 306, 806, 405, 505. Nah, I never had a 505, but they were around. But even when you get back to this era of Peugeot, they're quite, well, they're not a common sight, even in France. I've never even worked on one of these engines. I think it's called an X series, and it was about from the mid-60s until sometime in the 70s, I think, when they came up with the suitcase engine, which is the one that's laid all the way back, called the suitcase engine because it literally looks like a suitcase with two halves clamped together. What both of those engines share is they have the gearbox in the sump, and the suitcase engine ran till the mid-80s, I suppose. It was designed for small hatchback cars to get the bonnet line a bit lower than this is way high with the gearbox underneath. And that ran until, yeah, the mid-80s when they came out with the TU engine, which ran until, you tell me, sometime 2010, something like that, maybe even a bit later. That certainly had a good long life. Right, what have we got in here? There isn't a whole lot to look at in here. There's, yeah, basically like a relay that clicks on and off, I guess. Someone's messed with it before because it's got some plastic terminals joined onto it. It could just be a bad connection on the end here where there's a coil of wire. It clicks this on and off, I guess. And then there's an adjustment with a little knurl wheel that alters the distance between the contact and where it makes contact. Let's give it a clean up and see what happens. I think it's the alternator itself that's bad, unfortunately. Alright, we won't waste any more time on that for now. Not easy to get it off or get it apart either. Right, fuel system sorted. Slightly suboptimal, but it does work. So I think we'll give it a little test drive around this farmyard, see if the brakes actually do work. Maybe back up on the trailer so we can get to the exhaust. Put a bit of lube on the throttle linkage actually. Oh, it's more stuck than it was before now. can't believe the brakes are perfect. I don't know if you can tell, but there's a bit of a hole in the exhaust. No wonder it makes a racket, because it comes straight from the front up here and it's just straight out there. So that's annoying. I'll come back to that in a minute. But it's nice and solid under here. Somebody's put some corrosion protection on it a while ago. It's held up pretty good. Anyway, so while I was underneath, I thought I might as well try and get this fuel tank out. I put a spanner on the 4 fixings on each corner and they all came undone. Might as well drop it down. Then I thought I had to lever the fill pipe off, because the clip on that is well rusted up, but it's about ready to drop down now. Let's have a look. Let's see what horrors await us in there. The access hole is very small. Oh, no, that is not good. Not great, quite sludgy. The crud in there is quite loose. It would clean up this, but do I want to do it now is the question. And would it be possible to unblock the pickup anyway? What I'm wondering, now I've got some access to it, I use a piece of this hard nylon pipe, attach it to my drill, and send that down there spinning. Maybe that'll dig out the grotty bit. Getting a bit further each time. No, still not. Right, a 10-minute fight with a grinder and a hacksaw has seen that thing off. And Sam's found me this. I don't know what it's from, a little Peugeot or something, but can I chop it here, same the other side. This pipe is a good bit smaller, but I'll wedge it inside the other pipe. Sam's also got a MIG. Is wedge it in here, and a bit of MIG around here, not onto the pipe, but onto the actual box itself. I'll butt it up against it, and that will give us something resembling an exhaust, hopefully. And then we're going to have to figure out fuel system, and then we go. That fits better than I hoped, actually. It sort of wedges in that pipe, not too far off. This one, bit of a gap at the top, but we'll stick some weld in there. Yeah, then we'll have an exhaust. Sweet. Check it out, the exhaust gas is coming out the exhaust pipe. That is a quality bodge, even if I do say so myself. That's virtually permanent, that one. Still a little bit leaky back here, but it's much, much, much quieter. Found myself a fuel tank as well. And it's even clear, so I can see when we need fuel. Yeah, I have my doubts about this one. It feels pretty ropey. It's a good looking car, don't you think? Abby says it looks like a Rolls Royce, and I kind of see what she means with the lines. I mean, all 3 box saloons look a bit the same, but the dashboard, this shape here, is a bit Rolls Royce as well. Hope it rides like a Rolls Royce. Anyway, that's our fuel tank. Getting a bit low, so straight for fuel. I cannot believe how I brought so much junk with me again. Loads and loads of stuff, but not half the stuff you need. Always the way. I've got the old fuel tank in the boot as well, so that's taking up a lot of room. But anyway, if I'm to stand any chance of getting home, we need to crack on. So I'm going to give it a quick wipe down and call it good. Just hope that alternator starts working again. It probably won't, but it's riding a little bit low on the back. What a fine machine. Can't quite believe it, but we're off. I don't feel too confident about this one. This is the first proper drive. Weird seatbelts. Throttle's a bit sticky still. Hopefully that'll free up as we drive a bit. The sun's shining on us, that's a good omen. Yeah, as well as the throttle sticking open a bit, sometimes the butterfly sticks shut and you press on the pedal and it's just hard. You're trying to stretch the cable. You give it a little stamp and then it goes. So we've got to give it a chance to come around, haven't we? Sometimes you just have to drive them and hope that it gets better. Very boaty steering. But wow, on the whole, it rides nice. No horrible noises, wheel bearings sound okay. Brakes are not sticking, which is absolutely amazing. Yeah, I'm a happy boy. I'm very happy with my fuel tank, especially being a clear can. And we can see exactly how much we have. Oh. I've got a phone holder somewhere, but I don't know what it is. I can't get organised today. I've got stuff everywhere. Off camera, I put the wiper arms back on. They were in the boot. One of the clips was broken, so it's got a little Jubilee clip holding it together. But the wipers work, the indicators work. Pumped the tyres up a bit, gave it a good wipe off. Hope for the best. I just cannot believe how well it runs. It's so smooth. The speedo's a big fat liar. We got 75 kilometers an hour and it says 95 on there. It's quite floaty on the front end, like we've got some worn bushes and things, but it's to be expected. Cushy over the bumps. Seemed like the accelerator pump came back to life, so that's handy. See this weird thing? Oh, that lets air in. Does that as well. I'm not sure why. I have to say a big thanks to Sam for letting me work in his yard, use all his tools, drink his coffee. So lucky he had that MIG welder, because I would not have liked to have tried to drive home with the exhaust the way it was. Just thinking, the only parts I've used to get this going are an exhaust off a Peugeot 106, oil filter, consumables, pipes, fuel filter. No, actually, it's still got the original fuel filter. Almost nothing really, the battery, but just generic stuff. It's just amazing how well it's come back to life. You'd have been the absolute bee's knees if you'd owned this in 1974, I reckon. Quite luxurious by those standards. The steering wheel's like degrading, it's really mushy. But at least it's not sticky, that's worse. Today's Monday and it looks exactly like it did around here when it was Sunday. Do I stop it? Yes. Be brave. Save on battery power. Gotta love self-service French petrol stations. No one around. No one to interfere and tell you can't use a petrol tank inside your car. Slightly concerning. Start to have a bit of a horrible noise coming from the left front. I thought it was a loose wheel. I just stopped and gave it a shake though. It doesn't seem like it. CV joint, not sure. Does not sound healthy. Oof. That's good. Got a lot worse when I braked. Alright, I guess we're going to have to jack it up and have a look at that. Oh my god, what is that? Oh, turns out my wheel was falling off. Cool, that's an easy fix anyway. I suppose it would be sensible to check the rest, wouldn't it? Yep, both front wheels were loose. That's alright, at least we caught it in time. 17 miles to the parts place. Buy some batteries. Keep on trucking. Only one thing for it then, roll the time lapse. This road is about 10 miles, absolutely arrow straight, the whole thing. And so it's a pretty good test just for cruising along, staying cool. There's maybe a slight gearbox rattle, I'm not sure what that is. Might just be the gear linkage. Brakes seem okay. It's alright, so far so good. Oh, I just stopped to check everything and now I can't get it going again. There's three big blokes here. If I start pushing, they'll probably help me. Oui, s'il vous plaît. Merci! We're off again apparently. Yeah, that was annoying. That took a good whack out of our battery. Yeah, I'd pulled over because I started to get a bit of a panic on. I thought I could hear the gearbox rattling. And then I thought, what if I'm wrong and it doesn't share the same oil as the engine and there's no oil in it? But then I remembered I had a manual in the back. And to my surprise it's in English, and yeah, you can clearly see the sump. In the sump is the gearbox, so it has to use the engine oil. So if the engine's full of oil, then the gearbox has oil in it. It's quite a clever way to do it when you think about it. It means that there's less maintenance. One less thing to check anyway. Right, 2 batteries purchased at great expense. They weren't too bad actually, €83 each for a smallish battery, but they're FIAM ones, so they should be fairly decent. I left it running while I was in the parts place because of that starting issue. I'm scared of stopping it now. But we shouldn't really need to stop again. 210 miles we got on the GPS now. I'm just glad to be on the road because you could spend days tinkering and adjusting that, getting this bit right and that bit right, and at some point you just got to get going and then you find out what really needs doing. Find out that your wheels are falling off, that sort of thing. So I just need to get used to the creaks and rattles that it makes. Stop trying to convince myself that the gearbox is going to blow apart. It runs nice and cool. I think the thermostat is probably stuck open. But that'll do, that'll do. We're just cruising along quite happily, and I was thinking to myself, it's been a funny old revival, this one. It sort of feels like it's been easy but difficult at the same time. I think the weather's been cold and gloomy, that doesn't help. I spent way too long trying to unblock that fuel tank when realistically it was probably never going to work anyway. But a lot of stuff came back to life easily. The brakes, the engine really has been faultless. And then when you have a charging problem, you feel like, well, I can buy batteries and I can get home, but then it doesn't feel like a very satisfactory way to do things. This morning before we got going, I felt like we had a lot of issues, and I also felt like as soon as we got going, we'd find out we had a load more issues. But I'm a lot happier now because that turns out not to be the case so far. The roads are nice and quiet, and we're just cruising. Still got about 3/4 of a tank of fuel. So please do consider subscribing if you're enjoying my adventures. Give me a like, drop a comment down below. I'm not sure what we'll do with this car. We'll give it the usual inspection, see what's up with it. Might be worth just going through it, new tyres, do the brakes, bits and bobs, make it all good, and send it on down the road. If it's an object of desire for you, do let me know. And we'll have a good look underneath, but it doesn't seem to be rotten, so that's not bad. I just did a quick brake check as well, all fairly cool. They might be just sticking just the tiniest bit, but not worth worrying about. I've got to ask the old owner, but it didn't come with a name, this car, I don't think, so comment down below if you've got a good name for it. There's a surprising amount of wind noise in this car once you get it up to like 50 miles an hour. Not sure where it comes from either. It's just really bloody noisy. As usual, oh and around. Bridge is called Les Grands Bras, the big bras. I was just thinking about in the 60s and 70s how Peugeot had such a good reputation for making really rugged, reliable, durable cars. In the 80s they were really on fire. They came out with the 205, 405, 305, early 90s, 306, all brilliant cars. They were doing well up until around, 2000, 2001? Really, Peugeot, what happened? What happened? Let's take one of your new cars, stick it in a barn for 23 years, and then I'll come back, see if I can get it fired up and drive it home. Probably not. But the car's doing pretty good. I notice when I stop at stop signs, I don't get the little rollback, which means we still do have a tiny bit of brake sticking going on. But I don't smell it burning, so we just ignore it for now. Can't find them, grind them. Yeah, I'll open up the 2-barrel for you. Makes a lot more noise, but doesn't actually go any faster. Is my conclusion of that. Let's not do that again. Just noticed a proper cold draft blowing in my face. It's coming through the door handle. But it is cold. It's probably like 3 degrees. It looks like it should be snowing. So I stopped and took on fuel. I'm still running on the original battery and we've got 108 miles to go, so well over halfway. Just that the battery will drain a bit quicker now that the lights are on. If I am going to do when I do a battery swap, I'll try and do it on a hill somewhere so I can get a good bump start, in case starting is an issue. Lots of people are enjoying seeing the car, giving me smiles and waves. They do like an old car in France. Yeah, the brake is sticky, I can tell. It's a little bit hot, not cooking, and loads of brake dust on the wheel. But that's all right, it's not too bad. It's not like a Ford where if it sticks a bit, it starts to clamp on. It gets worse and worse. At least manageable in this case. Oh, it's lovely, this town. I'm not sure what it's called, to be honest. This little 1300 engine though, what a thing. Really is a great, great thing. Peugeot were absolutely on it in the 70s. Oh, still running on that original battery. Must be like for 5 hours now. So it's either an amazing battery or we are getting some little trickle of charge coming in. But it can't last forever, not with the lights on. But I am starting to bond with this car. Rather than some cars that I feel like do their best to wind me up, I feel like this one's doing its best to get me home. We've got a sticking brake, but it doesn't turn into a clamped on, horrible stuck brake. We've got a lack of voltage, but it gives me just enough to keep going, you know? It had a bit of a rumble on and it told me its wheel was loose instead of just throwing it off. But yeah, it's just starting to get to be a struggle to see where I'm going. The light is a bit dim. It looks a lot darker in real life than it does on the screen. Of course, it's raining as well now, giving me flashbacks to the Spitfire trip. Can't see nothing. Oh wow, it looks great there. It's because I've got the camera in its super night mode. You can see everything. You can see a lot more than me, that's for sure. We've got 70 miles to go. Wipers on full time, lights on full time. Just don't understand how this battery's not dying, but whatever. When it does, we'll chuck another one in. Well, I rolled in last night about 8:30, no further incidents. The car did really well, I think, and it needed a lot less work than I thought. First time we've had a plugged up fuel pickup, but I think that tank will come around. It's not that rusty inside. I think we can clean it out, get it working properly. There'll be an update video. We'll go through the brakes, we'll do tyres, general service. I think I'll see if I can fix the alternator. Maybe we'll rebuild it. All in all, a pretty solid little car. We'll make it safe, reliable, move it on down the road. Don't forget, you can win my Trabant. I'll leave a link for the raffle in the description to this video. And thank you very much for watching. Drop me a like. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.